Yo, what's up? How you doing? This is Coach Renz. Starting a little late today. It's all right though. Starting a little late. Had to run some errands. That's how my Fridays go. So I am hoping to have an interesting dialogue with people today. Hoping that somebody either comes on TikTok live or Facebook live, and somebody, or even in the comments, try to discern, try to figure out, try to prove that Christianity has benefited people of color. How has it benefited people of color? That's the idea today, the topic today. There are other situations. Honestly, I don't think that, personally, you can go right off the whip, tell you, I don't think I know. It ain't a think or a belief. I know Christianity has not benefited people of color ever. Not ever. Not one point in history has it benefited people of color, specifically Black people. Grand Rising. When you come on, let me know who you are, where you at. Who you are, where you at. But I don't think we're going to be able to find one instance in history where Christianity has benefited any Black person. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and set up the TikTok. Demonstrate that Christianity has benefited Black people in any form or fashion. To prove it, but I don't think we're going to get anything. In just a second, I'm going to go into more of my own thought processes. Says signal strength is excellent. Let's see. We still having internet problems over here. Let's try it out. But if you're out there, you're listening to this channel, I got plenty of people on Facebook who are on my commentary on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. What up, BP? I think that I got to put the reading glasses on for DLP. Bad boy. Bad boys, bad boy. Out of Dallas, Texas, Grand Rising Willie, how you doing? But I challenge anybody, or even if you agree with me, you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I can only bring people live on TikTok and Facebook. I didn't set this up on my Zoom to bring people live on YouTube. YouTube need to get their act together and allow you to bring on guests. Without having to utilize a different program. Okay. I was just clicking to see if it does. If there was a way, I just didn't know about it. But yeah. Did I miss you? Don't know how I would have missed you. How can I miss you? What did you do for me to miss you? I can barely see the name. Show enough. I think you used to be on my lives. Used to show up in the comments. I miss everybody who ain't been on here for a while. Oh, hey, Deborah, don't be changing your name now. You change your name on me. Deborah cannot change the name. But from the beginning of its inception, Christianity has never, ever, and I don't use finite terms that often, benefited people of color. It shows a history of coming in and destroying the native people's religious center, their government, their cohesion. It shows a history of blood, of destruction, of separating people. It shows a history of oppression. That's all it has shown. Not once has it ever shown any benefit. Somebody's gonna come on and say that it was because of Christianity and the unification of the churches that brought the civil rights movement to a point where it was successful. But first of all, the civil rights movement was not successful at all. The civil rights movement put Black people in a worse situation than they already were in. It caused us to leave our businesses, leave our communities, commit them to abject poverty, took the best and the brightest, as they like to say, and moved them out of our community. And the civil rights movement should have caused our people to become even more unified, more dedicated to a Black nation. That's what it should have done. But that's not what it did. The only reason a person would claim that Christianity has anything to do with the civil rights movement is because who was the most prominent member of it? It was Dr. King. I respect him for his effort, but I like him share in the idea that his American dream became an American nightmare for Black people, economically and socially. Hell, I witnessed the tail ends of it myself. Growing up in the 70s, seeing the Black neighborhoods in Marietta, Georgia fall into disparity, because once integration happened, you had all the doctors, the lawyers, the shopkeepers, everybody ran, everybody went out to Powder Springs and East Cobb and up into Kennesaw. You know, they left Smyrna and Marietta. They left Rose Garden. You know, they left Roosevelt Circle and Lemon Street, and we had our own so-called Black Wall Street in Lawrenceville on Lawrence Street. But they all left. By the time I came up to awareness, they were all gone or in the process of leaving. There were no examples of doctors and lawyers and bankers, and not too many shopkeepers in my community by the time I came to awareness of what was going on around me. They had already left. So you can't claim Christianity brought that. That is politics. I need my torch. I need my torch to light my cigar. That is politics, Africa. You are absolutely right. It's straight politics. If we can't continue to oppress you in the same way that we've been oppressing you, we just gonna shift our war and make it more of an economic oppression, more so than it already was. We can't continue to burn down your neighborhoods, flood out your neighborhoods. So we'll just let a few of y'all leave your neighborhood and not build it up, not make it economically diverse. We're gonna make your neighborhoods low middle class and poor. We're gonna make your schools low middle class and poor. And where was Christianity and all that? Oh, keep your faith. Keep praying. Oh, I saw the ones who made money, the ones who had the better housing. Yeah, they came to church, back to the neighborhood. But as soon as church was over, they took their money, they took their taxes, and they rolled right back to their, oh, I can live with the Caucasians now. So Christianity was a hindrance, made you believe in something fake. Really sad considering it was often the community that supported them through their educational journeys, emotionally and financially. Exactly. Once the civil rights movement took hold, felt a little safe. The ones who had some money, they were there initially, but they were only there so they can leave. They thought it's much nicer to go live with Caucasian. It's much nicer to go shop at their stores. You know, I remember at first when I was small, when I was about 5 years old, it's about as far back as my memory can go right now. Oh, I remember going to a few black shops for clothes and that sort of thing. But then we progressively started shopping at Woolworth. We used to go to a couple of black restaurants like Strick's Restaurant. But then, we started going to McDonald's and Burger King. Going to eat up on the Marietta Square with the Caucasian business. Or we can shop on Marietta Square now. We can go to those places. We ain't buying our electronics from a black shopkeeper. We're gonna buy them from the white shopkeeper. And then we developed this idea that if it was sold by white people, made by white people, by the Caucasian, that it was better. Well, where was the Christianity and all of that? Where was it? It was gone. Where was the brotherly love during Jim Crow for Christianity? During the westward expansion, during American slavery, during African colonization? Where was it when the British Tea Company came and destroyed India? Where was the good Christians? You know, I did a video the other day where you got this pastor. He's not a pastor, but he was speaking at the church, the white church, Caucasian church. He said, black people didn't walk on Washington and protest, But what happened 100, 200 years ago? The good white people built them a church when it was cold. Taught them how to read. Most black people back 200-300 years ago didn't know how to read. The hell are you talking about? Taught them how to read. Oh, this is live. Yes. Taught them how to read, and then they read the Bible and they humbled themselves. And through a succession of good white, is what he said, good Caucasian presidents, they were freed. Oh, you live access then? Sure. Don't know what that means. But this is live though. But taught them some stuff. How you doing, Tim? How do you get live access? You mean come on here live? Just request it. Is that what you mean? Hold on. Let me see. I might have to turn the microphone off though. It won't let me invite you. I don't see where I can invite you though. Oh shit. You got other people that'll let me invite, but I don't know. Press the little invite button up top on one of the things. On that side panel. What? There is not one instance where this religion has benefited people of color. Now, some people are going to say no religion has benefited people. People had their own religion within their own community. It benefited them as well as hindered them. Religion in itself is a hindrance. But when it's your own people and you have your own deities and you're not destroying your own people, it's to your benefit. You can find some benefits in that, some as far as unity and believing it that most people are equal, because not everybody, because the government always, those in charge always see themselves as ahead or better than everybody else. Nah, it didn't bring us through. It didn't bring us through. See, I understand the thought process, Deborah, that spirituality, Christianity brought us through, gave them hope, kept them willing to continue. If a person was atheist, but dealing with oppression and slavery, their will to live gets them through. Their will to, if they have children, to figure out a way for their children to have better, that gets them through. It is that will to live more than anything else that gets people through hard times. Because no matter, you can find the most spiritual person, especially before they're old and decrepit. If they find themselves in a situation where their life is in danger, they will fight tooth and nail to save that life, to save their life, to keep their life. Religion and materialism are now controlling Black folks. So our physical chains have been replaced by mental and economic chains. Materialism has always been something. It's always been a thing. And I would agree with you. Materialism does hinder people as a whole, but that's something we're always going to have, even if we didn't have Christianity. But I agree, materialism is something that is controlling people, controls all people. Even in communism, materialism still controls people, because people are always going to want more. But we do have to let go of some of that materialism in order to create our own brands of materialism. Blues, jazz, rock and roll. What are you talking about, Paul? Wiccan and naturalism hasn't hurt anyone. If anything, it teaches you to respect everything. I'm gonna give you that one. Shane, I'm gonna give you that one. I'm gonna give you that one. I know about this much about Wiccan and naturalism. I worked with a guy for almost 3 years who was a Wiccan, and I would talk to him. And Wiccans they're pretty cool people. They all nature loving. They all, from the ones I've met, they love nature. They love, animal species. Most of them are vegetarians that I've met. Wiccans don't really go after trying to change people or corrupt people or take over people. Oh, I get you what you're saying. Blues, jazz, rock and roll, R&B, all from gospel. I think those forms of music would have came about regardless of Christianity. Christianity did not forge those. I understand how it can look like it, because you got those songs, those artists came from those backgrounds. But I think those artists still would have developed their own style of music regardless of it. But blues, jazz, rock and roll, R&B, even at that, in its advent, artists are just now in the last few generations being able to take advantage of their intellectual property. We know Elvis stole from a lot of people. The Beatles took from a lot of people, or as they say, more inspired by a lot of people. But who got the money? Who got paid for it? You know, Little Richard is a little sensational for me, a little more sensational than I can deal with. But he was always right when he said that they all took from him. You know, people like B.B. King and Fats Domino, John L. Hooker, you know, all those guys, Chuck Berry, they should have been the wealthy. They should have made great wealth off their money, off their talent, I should say. But them good Christians took their money. Lots of negative inception is the little heart thing is in the way, but I think it says way. Is the way, this is the way I view it. Yeah. Christianity is one of the most negative religions that I've ever researched. It is, yes, there's some egregious things in Islam. The Aztecs might surpass it to a certain degree because they were sacrificing the hell out of some people. You know, it was a industry to go out and find people of other tribes to sacrifice, but they didn't sacrifice a lot of their own people. You see, within their religion, they weren't sacrificing a lot of their own people. Most of the people were people outside of that. Are you just about to say Little Richard? Exactly. And it does. It ties to their Christianity. Because see, wrapped up in Christianity is racism. Christianity supports racism. Whether you want to call it nationalism or tribalism, it supports racism. You know, we call it race today. But when a book tells you to go make slaves of foreign nations, when a book tells you you can't fall in love and have babies with foreign nations or foreign people, you know, when it tells you that you're God's chosen and everybody else don't freaking matter, until later on they correct themselves and say, oh, okay, well, y'all all are grafted in, you know, y'all stepchildren. And you know, most of the time the stepchild don't get treated as well. When it tells you that whatever leader is appointed to you, whatever leader you have over you was appointed by God, and you are to respect and pray for that leader. Come on now. Y'all supposed to respect and pray for Donald Trump, for Bill Clinton, for Barack Obama, for the Bushes, for Nixon. You're supposed to pray for them. And those were the leaders appointed to you. It is a placebo. In the name of Christianity, it keeps his money and shuns his lifestyle. That's why Christians vote against their best interest. It does. And they do. Think about it. Think about it for a minute. Christians will easily say that it is because of their religion that they want to vote for Donald Trump. Because of their religion, that they also will storm the Capitol. Because of their religion, they want to vote for Biden. And then, and let's go even lower. They want to vote for this police chief. Because inherent to it, we got to make sure we have a police chief and judges that keep these vile people of color out of our neighborhoods and out of our schools, and, you know, keep them in check. DeAndre say, they say God isn't evil, man is. They lying. They are lying through their teeth. This deity is evil as hell. All right, Tim, let me know if the microphone is working better now. They are lying through their teeth. This deity is evil. This deity sends people to go and commit genocides, to be disrespectful to women, to be disrespectful to children. It is a man's religion. and is a man's religion of whomever is in charge. You know, yeah, when this deity tell you you'll be rewarded with slaves, yeah, go and conquer this nation and, you know, kill all the fighting men, kill all the young boys, kill all the old men, kill all the women who's known a man, but take for yourselves slave wives. So let's say it what it was. It was slave wives of the girls who have not known a man. These would have been infants on up to probably 14, 15 years old. That's an evil religion. That's an evil deity. Thank you, Deborah. That's right. Boost the TikTok, because you know they'll try to cancel it in a minute. So I'm not kind of person of color, all this diversity and stuff. I'm black, and I can only view it from that. I was going to use that as the title to just pinpoint black people. But in getting ready, in preparing this, I thought about all the damage they've done, that Christianity has done to people in India, to people in other Asian countries. Hell, if you go before the transatlantic and even a little while after, hell, the Christianity treated Irish people like shit, Scottish people like shit. You know, early in it, treated the Britons like shit, which is funny. They treat the Britons like shit, and then the Britons turn around and treat the Irish like shit, and treat the Scottish like shit, and treated the Vikings like shit. They look down on the Italians. They look down on the Spaniards and the Portuguese because they had that 700 years of Moorish blood in them. Now, I ain't got to be, yeah, I understand. It could look like I'm being PC, but I'm really not. I just thought about all the other people groups that they fucked over. And that's right. Why we always show so much grace. If you saw the video I posted yesterday, you know, you got the little Caucasian lady, little Karen, don't want to let the black man deliver the food for Postmates. She can claim it wasn't because he was a black man, but you know it was. And you know that woman go to church. You know she's a Christian. I'm gonna make that assumption. Little young black man sitting up there pleading with this woman and trying to discuss this thing with this woman. To hell with her. I'd have called the police on her ass and charged her with what is it, kidnapping 2 or whatever it is, detaining me, not allowing me to do my job. The Constitution guarantees you the freedom of travel. She denied my freedom of travel. I'd have called the police on her ass. See, we done humbled ourselves and show so much grace that we still let people treat us like it's Jim Crow laws. We still let them do it. I know why it hasn't happened to me. I know why it hasn't happened to me. Because if it happened to me, the story is going to be much, much different. It's going to be a big ass different story. It's going to be very much a big, huge different story. We're going to call the police. And then for them ones that get too close to me, raise their hands at me. I don't believe in hitting women. But if you think you big and bad enough to jump up in my face, to swing on me, then you better know that you big and bad enough to catch these hands, to catch them. And these hands been trained since well, when did I start training with Kim Say's dad? Well, actually, I started training my cousin first. So these hands been trained since I was about 8 years old. And then, you know, in different martial arts, for everything from American style boxing to Thai boxing, a little bit of Kung Fu, Taekwondo, Aikido, and then went to the Marine Corps. Learned me some good knife fighting, some good submission. I wish somebody would let me jump to a side note. because I hope the person hear it. I keep getting these people on Facebook, especially. Oh, you a piece of shit, is what this dude said. You a piece of shit. You're a dumb piece of shit, is what he said. I told him come say it to my face. Wait, he said, where you at? I gave him the address to the lounge. Told him I'm here 12 hours a day. Come on. Come see me. I've had few people. I ain't gonna say plenty, but I had few people make out that want to say something. Now, I ain't that kind guy. I'm not sitting back and be like, ignore them, or I'm all about that violence. I'm all about that violence. I'm not passive at all. Not passive at all. We was in the lounge back around Super Bowl. Well, it was the day after Super Bowl. Dude want to disrespect my lady. Ooh, if he hadn't backed down. If he hadn't backed down, he was about to catch these. He was about to catch these hands. I had switched my stance. He was about to catch these hands. And I was egging him on to go ahead and cast that first blow. So I am not that guy. I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm cut from a cloth of a father who, when the KKK had their last march through Marietta Square, him and his buddies got on the rooftops and was shooting at him. I'm cut from that cloth. I'm cut from a cloth of my pappy, who lived on the same street as Dr. King. And when King asked him to march with him, he told him, they sick them dogs on me, I'm killing them dogs. They lay hands on me, I'm killing them people. I'm cut from that kind of a cloth. I'm gonna take that bullshit. So I wish Karen would. I especially wish a male Karen would. Because then I can go all out. But I digress. I digress. Get the strap. I always got the strap. But if you know me, I'd rather pull out my blade. I'd rather pull my blade out. If I'm going to use a weapon, I'd rather my blade. It's up close and personal. It's up close and personal. Oh, yeah. What my man say? Let's create a rebel military. You know what? I would love to. I was pissed off when I forgot the name of the organization. They came down here to Stone Mountain, and they was going to march around Stone Mountain. Right. They were going to march around Stone Mountain. And I went. Damn motherfucker, they had the nerve to say, don't put any rounds in your gun. I was like, what the fuck? Don't put any rounds. Y'all crazy. I had rounds. I'm not gonna walk around just showing a piece with no rounds in it. Mine has always got one in the chamber. Always got one in the chamber. I ain't got time to be. Ain't got time for that. Only time I got time for that is with my shotgun that's in my house. That's your warning. No warning shots. Your warning is the. That's it. Unfortunately, African Americans have bought into the American dream, so they feel they have to appease Caucasian folk. In the UK, they never bothered to tell us we were part of their country. So we never. Let me see if I hit this, if it's gonna mess it up, if nobody else texts anything. So we never felt we had to placate them. And that is a beautiful thing. I can tell you this. One thing I did notice. You ready for it, Sham? I did notice this every time I went to London. Every time I went to London. The same way you got Little China and all that kind of stuff. Are you switching to Facebook? All right. Every time I was up there in London, they got pretty much little Jamaica. You know, they got little Kenya, little Ethiopia, you know, and especially with the Jamaicans, because, you know, Jamaica was under British rule. And like my man said, they didn't make Jamaicans feel like they were part English or British. They made sure they drew the distinction. Those people never left their neighborhoods for the majority. You got some that do, don't get me wrong. You got some that do. But even those who moved off somewhere, I noticed they would come into the Caribbean, African areas of London and shop and eat and support those businesses in those communities. We got sold a bill of goods in this country. They told you you can get the American dream, not realizing that that's all it is. Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech is a dream. It's a dream that will never be fulfilled as long as this country still stands in the same format that it stands right now. That's why at the tail end of the video, with that man talking about how the good black people humbled themselves and a succession of good Caucasian presidents freed them. At the end of it, I called for black people to move your happy asses to the Southeast. About 40% of black people already live in the Southeast. So if we already living in the Southeast, let's get that other 37 more percent, because 16% ain't gonna move. 16% gonna cuddle up the massa. So let's get that max of about what 74% of us living in the Southeast. Especially all y'all in Chicago. Half the people in Chicago came out of Mississippi, moved back, create industry. And let me tell you how easy it would be for black people to take over Mississippi. The total population of Mississippi is around 4 million, I believe. Let me look it up. Because I like, y'all know I like giving correct information. Total population in Mississippi is 2.95 million people. Only 2.59 million people in Mississippi. That's it. That's not a lot of people. There supposedly is around 47 million black people in America. Now, of that, %39 of those 2.9 of those 3 million, we're just gonna say 3 million. 39% of that 3 million in Mississippi is black. 39%. 39%. You get 1 million people, just 1 million, spit in the bucket to move. And you can probably get that just out of Chicago, Gary, Indiana, Indianapolis, Detroit. A lot of them have ties to Mississippi. You just get 1 million. All your people's mother are from Mississippi and they went to Chicago. Yeah, that was a trend for people to move to Chicago out of Mississippi. If you just got 1 million black people to move to Mississippi, black people will then control the politics of that state. We can control the businesses, the schools of that state. Just 1 million. It's not even a lot of people. Yeah, you don't have a lot of electoral votes, so you're not really gonna do a, you're gonna get a black person out of Mississippi that's now gonna be the senator, and the senators, the two senators, and the I don't know how many congressmen they have, probably about 2 or 3. But you're not gonna impact the federal government too strong. But you control the state, you control the federal highway allocations, you control the educational allocations, you control Mississippi. You build businesses, you take over the cities, you take over Jackson and all these other cities in Mississippi. Just 1 million. Probably don't even need that many. Already at 39%. It ain't that hard. It's not that hard. People see it as being hard. Oh, well, what am I going to do when I get there? Well, first you need people who can create their own businesses to go there. And then those people hire other people from these other places to come there, as well as some of the locals. You build up that infrastructure of working together, of working for each other, shopping with each other. You get your podiatrists and your dentists and your chiropractors and grocery store owners and your basic shopkeepers to move down there. You'll get your hairstylists, your barbers, your retailers. They'll start coming, and you keep hiring your own people. Keep bringing them in, just like the Nigerians are doing here in Atlanta, just like the Koreans and the all the Asians are doing here in Atlanta. All the Africans and all the Asians do that here in Atlanta. They get in there, they start a business, they bring some of their own people in there. Their own people work for them. Everybody ain't got to be at the height. Everybody ain't got to be an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. That shit hard. It's hard. Tell you right now, that shit is hard. For the overwhelming majority of me being out of the Marine Corps, I have been an entrepreneur. Shit ain't easy. But it's a lot easier when people have a mission. When they have a mission. So I'm saying, it's not that difficult. Set that damn religion aside. Set that American pie eating shit aside. They don't want us here. They don't want us to prosper. And these are the good Christian folks. Again, how has Christianity benefited? It has not. It hinders our people more than anything else. I know my man Paul said materialism. I think Paul said that. And materialism is a big player. But materialism is not as bad of an issue when the materialism is going towards businesses of people who look like us, who are hiring us. We have enough numbers that we can have our own Facebooks and TikToks and all that shit. We can have our own Amazons. All right, Joel, here we go. I was waiting on that one, Joel. Every time black people did create their own town and was striving, they would run, kill you off and flood the town and create lakes and towns. They can't do that no more. They can't do that no more. Do you really think there's an area of town here in Atlanta called I just forgot the name of it. Starts with an E. Just forgot the name of it that quick. They're not coming in there and taking nothing. They can't. Do you think that, now, granted, we often don't talk about the fact that not all the black people in places like Tulsa just ran. Oh, they shot some folks too. But in today's world, the only way they would be able to do something, they have to try to do it legally. Use eminent domain and things of that nature, like they did with the U.S. highway system. A lot of people don't know the U.S. highway system purposely destroyed quite a few black communities, especially here in the South. Instead of going through a farm in Montgomery, they decided to go through a black neighborhood in Montgomery. It was purposely designed to hinder and destroy black communities. A lot of people don't know, and I only recently found out because my lady is from Wilmington, and I've spent quite a bit of time in Wilmington over the last year. that Wilmington was a prosperous black town. And yeah, they got away with murdering the people in Wilmington to the degree that they turned the river blood. The river was red, running with the blood. That's how many people. They're not going to be, they can't do that. They will not be able to get away with that in today's world. Ban the white people come through, ban the white people going to get shot. Do you know that especially during COVID that black people bought more guns than anybody else? Anybody else? You think they running in here? Hell no. Now the damage ain't done. To say that the damage is done, meaning that we can never overturn it, that the next generation is going to be stuck in the same manner. And I already see signs that the next generation is not of the same ilk as those in the 1920s and 30s and 40s. They have grown up in a different era, right? They've grown up in a different era. You cannot compare people who grew up under Jim Crow, post-slavery and Jim Crow, and put that same mindset on the people of today, right? People of today are different. Hell, I don't even think you're gonna get white people banding up to come through and try to destroy a black neighborhood. They wouldn't be able to band up together and do that. Perhaps that energy in Christianity faith could move black communities, in this manner. It could if you had the right preachers. These preachers are so concerned about their 501c3s and so concerned about appeasing and just faith and going along with the American plan. They ain't gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. I thought that at one point, and my plan to create black communities 15 years ago, and I spent about 5 to 7 years going to different black churches of different levels, trying to convince them to initiate the plan, and they all balked. Only one church did a half-ass version of it, but they all balked at it. Mississippi mud, that's what I'm talking about. We need to go to 1 million black people, go to Mississippi, take over Mississippi. It'd be easier to take over Mississippi than Georgia. Georgia has 10 million, a population of 10 million. Florida has a population of 25 million. But states like Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, lower populations, a million, couple of million, you take over that whole area. Probably not because the damage is, okay, black people gather together because of stuff like that, legally. Wait a minute. So how hard is it for black people to? Actually, let me tell you, like all things, all it takes is a catalyst and a leader. That's it. A catalyst and a leader. And that leader has to be able to garner lieutenants. And it is the lieutenants who actually create the movement. It's not the leader. It's the lieutenants who do it. They do the work necessary to drive the movement. They do the work. You had a catalyst when it was like every day a black person was being murdered by a police officer. You had the wrong leadership. The lady with All Lives Matter is not going to move a 18%. All you need to move is 18%. You get 18% of the people on your side moving in your direction, the next 34.6% will just join in. But you got to get that tipping point of 18%. So the civil rights was trying to be created long before Dr. King ever stepped on the stage. But it was people like King and Malcolm and Stokey who came up, and they was able to get that 18% tipping point, and then people fell in line with it. Now, all oppressed people become self-absorbed into the society that they are born into. It's a normal thing, whether we're talking about any era of time and any group of people who were oppressed. But that catalyst has to be something so bad, and the right leader comes up, that is what makes the movement. That's how movements start. That's how movements start. So Don't get me wrong. I don't push for a catalyst, but we need a major catalyst. We need a major catalyst to happen. We do. We need a major catalyst uh, to happen. We need something just as big or bigger than police officers gunning down, unarmed black people. We need something bigger than that. We've gotten used to it. We've gotten used to that. We need something like one of those far right, far left, whatever little group of Caucasians to come through and start some shit in the black community, and then the government to side with them. That when we fight back, that they come in, the government comes in and starts shooting up our people, the ones who are just defending themselves. Something of that level. Economic catalysts don't work. Economic catalyst is not going to work. Yep, I thought 2020 was going to set it off as well, but it didn't. Because you had your sycophants of black leaders jump in there. You had your what's the dude out of New York? First he was fat, now he's skinny. That's why we need a catalyst, Hugh. We need a catalyst. We need something that hits home, because that takes you beyond your pain point. Yeah, Al Sharpton went running up in there. We're gonna pray for y'all, and this is wrong, but we're gonna pray, and this is wrong, and we're gonna have a march. We're gonna march. We're gonna march. Yeah. Simmer down, black people. We're gonna march. To hell with a march. Only time we should be marching is we carrying when we march. And anybody come at us, we right back at them. Yeah. But they throw these Al Sharptons, these Jessies. Hey, Al, go shut that shit down. Don't let these black people get out of hand. Oh, that little white boy who went through and he was shooting people. Yeah, we'll take care of him. We'll let him slide. But you settle them field hands down. They send those people. And what banner does he stand under? Christian banner. Gonna pray that God will have mercy and bring justice. When did the justice happen? Ain't no justice happening. There was no justice. It didn't happen. When did Al or Jesse call for black folks to come into our own communities, to all congregate in one large geographical area and build our own safe communities? We need more representation politically. We should legally get guns and vote every time there's an election. Yeah, but what are we voting for? What are we voting for? And get insurance. I do think we all need to get insurance. I agree with the insurance part. We all need to get insurance. We all need to get guns. I agree with the gun part. That voting part, can't get down with you on that one, Deborah. Can't get down with you on that one. Voting ain't done shit for black people. Ain't done a blessed thing for black people. What? It freed us out of physical slavery to keep us in Jim Crow and mental slavery. And the mental slavery is worse because the mental slavery now, see, it was different when the mental slavery was you born into this physical slavery and I'm gonna force my religion on you. Then the mental slavery of, hey, I'm going to give you on the surface, I'm going to make it seem like you can do everything that anybody else in this country can do. You can achieve, and we're going to let a few of y'all get through and achieve. We're even going to give y'all a black president. Even though he's a mixed president, we're going to give y'all a black president. And we're going to let him have a black wife too. Because we know y'all probably wouldn't accept him having a white wife. We're going to let him have a black wife. That's one thing that people don't talk about. If Obama had a white wife, Obama would have never been president. Never, ever would he have been president. He had to have a black wife. But we're gonna let a few of y'all through. Make y'all think y'all got hope. Give y'all some hope. We're gonna push up these athletes. We're gonna push up these entertainers. We're gonna push up these Byron Scotts and Oprah Winfrey's. We're gonna push them up. But you best believe they live with us. They're communing with us. Well, I don't know what, okay. Orchestrated by Caucasian, I get you. George Floyd was a Mason. I don't know what that got to do with it. And although cops were Freemasons, I'm a Freemason. I'll tell you right now, I'm a Freemason. Most of my family were. But I don't think people... I am pissed off at Freemasonry that in the 1950s, when the anti-Masonry party came out, they didn't fight against it, against a lot of the bullshit that they were saying about it. There's plenty of club organizations, society organizations out there. To think that Freemasons gather together to have these secret meetings to plot out the world. If I'm talking about more of the Bilderbergs or the, what's that one with the owl that they meet in the woods and shit. I grant you that one. But yes, there are good Masons and bad ones. That's why being a Mason ain't got nothing to do with it. Ain't got nothing. Yeah, we'll support each other because we're Masons. Do Black Masons gather? Do they create a situation where we're pushing for all of us to live in the same states, to take control of government? Now, Black Masons don't do that. It's part of their problem. It's part of the problem that I have with them. Yeah. It's part of the reason why I'm inactive, because we ain't doing shit. Now, I think the Illuminati got a bad rap too. What is it, Weishaupt, who started the Illuminati organization? The Illuminati was originally started to enlighten people. It was actually more anti-government. Yeah, I might be a small Mason, but I know a lot of big time Masons. I know a lot of influential Masons, and I know a lot of Masons who are a party to some of the bigger influential ones. We're always looking for a scapegoat. Oh, the Illuminati, the Masons, the Skull and Bones, Bilderberg, all them kind of. We're looking for scapegoats all the time. Instead of just saying, fuck that. We're going to do what we need to do. I don't care if you are a Mason. I don't care if you are a Rosicrucian. I don't care if you are Alpha Omega. I don't give two shits about your affiliations. The one thing we all got in common is that these bastards, as long as we continue to stay comfortable, will continue to do the same shit. And then they'll put Christianity as a banner of goodness. The catalyst is the church maybe get passive, them to teach real and let bullshit. We're spiritual at our core. Everybody's spiritual at their core, baby. Them white Irish, them Caucasian Scottish, they were all spiritual. Man has been spiritual since man can remember. Through all his history, man has devoted himself, herself to some religion or another, has always looked at the stars, looked at the animals, the nature, created deities of kings and other people like that, and has always had a spiritual base. We ain't spiritual. We ain't more spiritual than anybody else. We just passive as hell. I thought blacks were Masons and whites were Freemasons. No, everybody's a Freemason, because the Moors started the Masons and Caucasians freed themselves from them, hence Freemason. No, not all Moors were Freemasons. Let's see, how far can I go into that? First of all, the Moors didn't start Freemasonry. They didn't start it. Freemasonry started in Egypt. All right. It didn't start in England. It didn't start in Arabia. It started in Kemet with the builders of the temples in Kemet is where it started. Now, do most organizations start with Solomon and the building of the temples? That's what most of them start with. These are things that you can research and find yourself. Hell, some of the main books are, you can go into a bookstore and just buy it. But no, it didn't start with them. And the term Freemason is just a long title for Mason. Freemason just means that you had to be a man born free, or free, not enslaved. You just know who starts shit and we fall for it. Right. And see, us getting caught up into, but see, I'm not saying you're looking for a scapegoat, but when we get caught up into organizations like the Masons and all this, the Illuminatis and Bilderbergs and stuff like that, those are distractions. Those are nothing more than distractions. You know, and we can't allow those distractions. If Black people all move to the Southeast, if 76% or 74% move to the Southeast, we all gonna be different as far as, you know, Masons or Alphas, Omegas, Baptists, Methodists, Buddhists, Islamic. We all gonna be different, right? We all gonna be different. But the common thing we have, and that's where the emphasis has to be, is in our commonality, not in our differences. You know, we all got the same enemy. I've been missing some comments from some of my YouTube and once I miss something on Facebook, this thing don't scroll right. Right. This is for people of color. That's right. You are absolutely right. And I invite the Latins. I invite all the people of color to move to the Southeast. But I'm primarily focused on us. When most people ridicule the Freemasons, they are referring to the elite billionaire Freemasons within the government. True. That's what most of them are talking about. The cop only saw him as Black. Exactly. And that's why you can have good people in your organization and bad ones. They only saw him as Black. Solomon is what we call Saturn today. It's only a personification. I've read some things about that. I can get down with that. Any sort of rituals Freemasons have to do. Of course, you have initiation just like you have initiations with any organization. All right, whoever he's using against us, which means we are our own enemies. Right now, we are our own enemies. And see, I understand getting into politics, but first we got to get economic. We got to get economic before we get political. Got to get economic. We have to, like, you don't see a bunch of Asians up there in Congress and the Senate, they ain't got a lot of representation. There ain't a lot of LGBTQ people in Congress and senators, but they sure got that money. They got that buying power. They got that. Okay, they all belong to the same organization. That still does not negate the fact that they were all probably Christian, and they hid behind that more than anything else. They hid behind their caucasity. I know it's not a word, but I'm making it one today. They hid behind their caucasity. They hid behind the stereotype of how this country sees people of color, is what they did. Sees especially black people, black men, more particularly. They hid behind that. That's the badge. That's the affiliation that they hide behind. Their caucasity and their Christianity. But we got to be solution oriented. We can talk about all the things that's in the way, all the people who got together, all that kind of stuff. Talking about that doesn't bring about solutions. That's why we got to create our own, because that's who owns it. If we own it, then it's ours. Oh yeah, it's a lot of good farmland. I was driving down to Savannah last weekend, and I was doing two things in my mind as I was driving. One, I was looking at all that good farmland, between here and Savannah. Then the second thing I was looking at is militarily, how easy it would be if Atlanta, to take over Atlanta, as far as people of color, black people especially, and how easy it will be to take all that land militarily throughout middle and southeast Georgia. The Caucasians will be so spread out. They're so spread out down there, and they're so small in number. Well, they're large in number, but they're so spread out. Hang on, no, they're not even large in number, because Georgia is like, what, 10 million people, and just out of Atlanta, we got so many black people. It's like 5 million people in the Atlanta and Metro Atlanta area. It's probably more than that now. That we could take it. We could take Georgia and take all the rest of it. I was looking at the landscape and going through battle scenarios, looking at areas that'll be more difficult to take, areas that'll be easier to take. But we represent 33% of black people in Georgia. But white people the Caucasians have a higher percentage. But coming out of a stronghold like Atlanta and then taking the immediate suburban areas, because we're going to have to feed ourselves and protect the water sources. Yeah, but see, that staying out of the city and buying all that farmland, that becomes a disadvantage when we're talking about fighting battles, fighting wars. You roll up into a county that's, 3,000 acres of land, but you only got 10,000 people on that land. You can't stand up against a 20,000 militia force that's coming through. You won't be able to stand against it. So war fighting is totally different. The easiest lands to conquer are the countryside. The most difficult land to conquer is the suburban, the city areas. That's the most difficult to conquer. That's why in ancient times they built city-states, and everything was farmed out of the city-states. That's right. They hide behind their caucasity. So now we can take them. We can take the farmland. We can take the countryside. You know, with a higher concentration of people, we can take the countryside. So, but we'd have to let go of that. Think about it. In every war, do you know that that Germany, that they were Christian? They were Christian. They were very much Christian. Little fellow with the mustache was very much Christian. They fought against the British, very much Christian. The French, Christian. Americans, Christian. You know, the only people that weren't really Christian that were fighting in that last war, in World War II, were your Japanese, your Chinese, and to a certain degree your Russians. To a certain degree, you still had a lot of Christians in there. So when it comes to war, religions get set aside. When we dealt with the genocides down in Haiti, the war in Haiti, the war in Rwanda, the Hutus and the Tutsis, for the most part, were Christians. So that religion, when it comes to war, gets set aside very quickly. I think Vietnam and Korea, you don't, the Vietnamese, the Koreans, they weren't as Christian. But those things get set aside real quick. Appreciate the stars, Joel. Sports channel, I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, sports channel, whether it's through stars or monetary gifts, but primarily share. Christians need to go by the Vatican, so that tells you what we all need to know. Yeah, and I've seen all the little Protestant dudes bow down and kiss the ring of the Pope. They still following the Pope. They still following that dude. But when it comes to war, when that catalyst hit, and that leadership steps up, we don't need to have a catalyst right now. I wasn't prepared in 2020. I wasn't prepared. I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't prepared. One, I wasn't prepared because I didn't want to. Not that I didn't have the capability, I just didn't want to. You know, I'm when it comes to this, in the past, I was reluctant. I didn't want to be in the forefront. I wanted to be the man next to the man next to me. That would be my desired place. But after I saw the debacle of it all, that can't be my desired place anymore. I have to take the undesired place, which is why more and more of my videos have been concerning this issue, which is why more and more of my planning has been based on preparations for such things. I'm waiting on the next catalyst, because we ain't gonna do it without a catalyst. You saw videos back in 2020. Yeah, 2020. I was. I'm telling. I don't want to lead masses of Black people. My desire is not to, and it's not because I don't want to see us prosper. I don't want to see us truly free. I'm just not the most politically correct person. You see, when I see some of the things that happens in politics, my response to a lot of them are totally different. Like take for instance with that whole Clinton and Monica Lewinsky situation, right? See, my happy ass would have been on the podium talking about why y'all in my personal business. That's between me and my wife, and we've already talked about it. We've come to an agreement, and you ask me that question one more damn time, and your press pass is gonna be revoked. You'll be banned. That ain't got nothing to do with national security, national economics. I let the hair grow a little bit back then. It's growing right now, but it's gonna get cut in the morning. It's gonna get cut in the morning. I'm gonna cut this off in the morning. But you see, I'm not that person. I'm not gonna try to pacify people, you know. And when that black so-called leader come up and like, well, we just gotta march and we gotta vote, you know, I'm the type telling them, get your punk ass out of my face. Take that bullshit on somewhere. You know, I'm not. That's why I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be that kind of leader because I'm not about the bullshit. I deal in true realities of things, and the true reality is that if we can do it peacefully, fine. But if we got to do it through some bloodshed, fine. Either way. See, right now, I'm advocating for us to do it through population control of certain areas and economic growth. But do not mistake that in my plans, there is a defense. There is a physical defense. Run up in here if you want to. Catch these bullets. Catch these mortars. Catch these armored vehicles. Catch these helicopters. Catch these planes. Catch all of it. All of it. It'll take some time to build a navy, but catch all that we can get. Because they ain't going for your bullshit. Because if we marching in the battle. We ain't marching just to yell with some signs and all that so we can get some press. And then after the press is gone, then we sitting up here going back to the same damn life. Ain't nothing changed. You ain't got time for none of that. That's not me. So I really don't. I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think black people are ready for me. I don't think they're ready for me. Thank you for the stars. I didn't see who did it. How you doing, Wade? Wade Wilson. Somebody else did some stars as well. Oh, Joel doing some. Somebody else did some stars, but Facebook scroll just jacked up. I think it was you. That's not me. That's not me. They're not ready for me. All them good church folk going Christians, they ain't ready for me until somebody come in and blow up their church, kill their family members, till the guns are pointed at them directly. That's when they're ready for me. They ain't ready for me right now. They ain't felt enough pain to be ready for me. Like I even seen that in the micro when I owned a gym and I was a personal trainer. I could have taken on a whole bunch of clients, but they weren't ready for me. They weren't ready for me because I wasn't listening to their bullshit. I wasn't ready. I wasn't listening to no bullshit. Okay, all right. You learn bad eating habits growing up. Well, you ain't a child no more. You know what to do. Let's find your pain point, and we're gonna use that, emotionalize that pain point every time you get ready to get ready to eat that ice cream. We're gonna emotionalize that pain point. Oh, you don't want to do that? All right, you fired. Who's next? Shit, that was my mentality in running a business. Even in here, you know, at Cigar Lounge, Ghost got to hold me back sometime. You know, if you was on my cigar channel, I did a video where, you know, it was titled "My Fuck You Attitude." Oh, you got a problem with me? Fuck you. I don't care. Y'all don't like me? Fuck you. I'll pick this business up and move it somewhere else. I don't give a damn. Nobody controls me but me. They ain't ready for that. They ain't ready for that because, you know, most people don't want to hear or deal with the harsh truth of life. They don't want to deal with it. Not even realizing that it would actually be easier for them to go through the thickets, to go through the bushes, to go through the thorns, than it would for them to stay where they at. Just stay where they at. Something as simple as 1 million black people moving to Mississippi. in their minds, it's too difficult. I don't want to move down there. This country is slow. I don't want to move down there. It's hot. They'll make up all these excuses. They ain't ready for the Black Rambo. They'll make up all these excuses of why I don't want to leave Chicago and move down to Mississippi. I don't want to leave LA and move to Alabama or Texas to Houston. They have every excuse in the book not to do it until it becomes easy. Until you get Black people coming down and taking over the hospitals, taking over the law practices, taking over the convenience stores and grocery stores and gas stations, until we take over all the rest, taking over the restaurant business industry in these countries, then taking over the mills and the factories in these states. When it becomes easy, that's why you got to get that. See that 18%? They see the vision. That's how you get the 18%. They see the vision, not the fucking dream. They see the vision. See, a vision can come to reality, whereas a dream is always beyond your fingertips. Those 18% will see the vision. Y'all part of the 1% right now. Everybody on here who agree with me, y'all part of the 1%. The 1% are the ones that all they got to hear is, do what? Oh, shit, let's go. Ready to just shake off everything and let's ride. But 1% don't move the people. 1% don't move the people. You need that to hit that tipping point of 18%. 18% is the law of innovation of diffusion. That's when the people move. That's when enough people have done it that it becomes easy. It's easier, I should say. It's not easy, but it becomes easier. It becomes something that's palpable to them. They can do it then. That's why we got to grow. We grow from the 1% to hit 3%, to hit 5%, to hit 10%, 15, 18. Then we got something. Then we got something. And then people will realize and think like, yeah, I've been forward my whole life. They'll be running down. Yeah, I've been waiting on something like this. I've been waiting. I get people walking my cigar lounge telling me that, man, I've been hoping that somebody open up a cigar lounge in my neighborhood for the last 20 years. Well, I've been here for 2. Where you at? Where you been? Had a lady come to my popcorn shop when it was in Decatur. She said, I seen you over there, but I was waiting. I wanted to make sure you was going to still be here before I started shopping with you and patronizing you. Black lady. After I sold her product, I made sure she understood. Today is my last day. I'm closing after today. And it's because of people like you, that's why I'm closing. You sit around and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait. Can't nobody survive off your waiting. We can't survive off waiting. And that's what we're doing. We're sitting around waiting and waiting and waiting for the government to do something, to get representation that is actually for us. You can't have representation for us if you are a Republican or Democrat. You cannot, because you're going to go up there and make them same fucking deals and keep setting us back. The only way is to take over a region to where we then have financial and political power, educational power, infrastructure power. It's the only way. It's the only way it works. And that Christianity is holding us back. It is. It's one of the things that is one of the main things that's holding us back. Christianity. I know my man said, what did he say? Materialism. People want houses. People want cars. People are always going to want those things. And they can still have those things. But the other part that holds us back is this falsified American dream. This falsified American dream holds us back. Us believing that we're going to get a fair shake when you go to court. You're going to get a fair shake when you start a business, a fair shake when you go to a bank, a fair shake when you vote for this senator or that congressperson. You ain't getting a fair shake. You'll get a fair shake from your state representation in a state like Mississippi if you get 1 million people move to Mississippi and take over the state government. When we are the governors, we are the lieutenant governor, we are the mass representation in the House, the Senate, when we are the mayors, that's when you get it. That's when you get fair representation in your state. And what governs your life more than anything else is your state politicians. Doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, it's the Black Party. It's the Black, whatever you want to call it, the Wakanda Party, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. That's when you take over. Exactly, Wade. It's a numbers game. And they want to keep us spread out. They want to keep us spread out. And some people are thinking that, oh, well, all these black people move to Mississippi and all that kind of stuff. Those white people ain't going to sell that land. Let the black folks move in. When a Caucasian is surrounded by white people, they will move. And initially the banks will devalue the land. But we ain't buying the land to sell it in the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. We buying the land to hold for generations. Don't give a damn what the banks that they have, the mortgage companies that they have, value the land at. It's all about what we're doing in the land and maintaining it and keeping it for generations. So who gives a shit what their evaluation of it? Who cares? See, we care. See, that's that falsified American dream. I move over there, I buy a house, and it doesn't rise as quickly, and with redlining, I can't get a mortgage. That's why we create our own bank. Create our own bank. I do have a whole plan for a bank too. I got a whole plan for a bank. Create our own. And not that bullshit black banks that we got now. The black banks now are full of bullshit. I appreciate that, Marcus. You look forward to my breakdown of Deuteronomy 28. Well, that's not today, sir. I've done plenty of videos on Deuteronomy 28, though. So if you search my name and put Deuteronomy 28, probably some of those might pop up. I've seen land cost $50,000 turn into millions of dollars land, just the shit they invested in. Yeah, you can turn the value of property. It's not that hard, but the value of property is really based on the mood of the people. Value of anything is an emotional value. It's an emotional value. I collected comic books from the mid 80s up into the mid 90s. The value on those comic books is scarcity, condition, and then emotions that people hold towards those comic books. I got books worth $6,000, $3,000, $700, $100, all across the board. But more than the scarcity, well, scarcity is like right just below emotion. Right below emotion. Right below that. But value of land is emotionally based. If the land is used along, of course, dilapidation and all those kind of things hurt it. But look at how when they go and re-gentrify some area and people start feeling comfortable. We always say that a neighborhood is changing when you see that Caucasian jogging through this neighborhood or walking their dog through this neighborhood. And what would we say? Here comes the neighborhood. And then 5 years, 10 years later, that property that they bought for $100,000 is now worth $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. That's all emotional. It's an emotional thing that people say that if the neighborhood has Caucasians in it, then it must have a higher value. And a lot of us don't have long-term thinking, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the reason why people, as I continue to put this call out, move to the Southeast and stop coming to Atlanta right now. Spread out, damn it. Move to Birmingham. Move to Montgomery. Move to Mobile. Move to Jackson. Move to Baton Rouge. Stop coming to Atlanta. Shit, we full. Move to Savannah, Augusta, Columbia, Columbus, Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham. Move there. Build up our numbers in those places. We good here. There's enough of us here in Georgia. We can handle Georgia. We can take Georgia. Well, we can use a couple more million, but we can move somewhere else. That 47 million, all of them don't need to come to Atlanta then. And we take it. And the land value, then it will increase. But it's increasing because we buying it from each other. Yep, we all want to live next door to them. Oh, my apologies, Inya. My apologies. I couldn't tell by the picture and nor by the name, so my apologies for calling. Thought it was about. I just assume most of the time I assume it's a dude because I get more dudes commenting. Yep. Go feed the body, feed the mind. Yeah, Hugh, I appreciate you. Yep. That's why you see a lot of move to Athens. We see a lot of European diaspora. Shit, they the main ones going back to Africa and building, farms and infrastructure and IT this and doing all these things in Africa. They got the message. They got the understanding. We got to get it. Yeah, a lot of us moved over to Ghana, Tanzania, but not enough. But we got to take care of here first. We need to take care of here. Do you understand how powerful? If someone moved to the Southeast, how powerful would become within 20 years? Within 20 years. That's less than a generation. Within 20 years, the Southeast will become incredibly powerful. And then businesses create trade relations with places like Senegal and Ghana and Tanzania and Togo, Benin, Nigeria. Create trade relations with those countries. Do you understand how powerful we would become? How wealthy we would become? Think about it like this. I'm not a fan of what's that boy name? Shit. Kanye West. Not a fan of his at all. But he was all like, yeah, I'm a billionaire. I got a contract from Adidas. I'm a billionaire. Does this young man realize that if he focused his business interest in places like Nigeria that has 400, I think Nigeria got like 400 million people in this small ass space. I know Lagos is overcrowded like a mug. Oh, my bad. Nigeria has a 213 million person population. 213 million. Yep. Akon did do something like that. Living here in Atlanta, Rick Ross has been doing that. Why my brother calling me? He know I do my videos right now. Rick Ross does that. Rick Ross spends damn near just as much time in Africa that he spends here in America. Because that's a huge market. So imagine if your t-shirt company, your dress company, your watch company, your shoe company was focused there. Look at what Stephon Marbury. Stephon Marbury said, I don't give a shit about the American economy. I don't care about American purchasing power. I'm going to China. They got over 1 billion people. I'm going to China. And he's the Michael Jordan of China. Yeah, Rick Ross, a country boy with his horses and all. And he put cattle on his land down there because he bought Holyfield's house. and now he gets farm subsidies. See, that's the thing. He's using their laws against them. He's using their laws against them. And Stefan said, "Fuck y'all." He rolled out to China, making all kind of money. America's not the only market. It's not the only market. Imagine we see the vision of us controlling the Southeast, and we're working with Caribbean nations, within our trade. Y'all know I'm planning to move to Puerto Rico, right? And I was dumbfounded to find out that most of the food that you buy in Puerto Rico, even the fruit, you would think they're tropical, is imported. It's brought in. They ain't growing a lot of shit. They got some fertile land that the federal government owns, but they're not growing. You take over Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. Look, I know I'm a Georgia boy. I get it. I'm a Georgia boy. I'm supposed to be a Georgia peach of a man. But them South Carolina Spartanburg peaches, them things is way better than Georgia. You own a peach farm in Spartanburg. You can ship your shit to Puerto Rico. They don't have peach farms in Puerto Rico. You can ship your stuff throughout the Caribbean. They don't have it. They don't have it. You see, that's the bigger vision. You can ship it to Senegal. Ship it to Ghana. You see what I'm saying? You understand what I'm talking about? When you control, and I know a lot of y'all don't like cotton, but the world still uses a lot of cotton. You can grow cotton. You can grow corn. You grew up between Georgia and Florida, and I don't see pecans or oranges grow like they used to back. Oh, hell no. We had conversations in here, and I was telling my lady one time that even though I grew up, poor, there was no excuse for being hungry, because back then if you walk around Marietta, the plum trees, blackberry bush, muscadines, pecans, apples, oranges, pears. You could just go foraging. You gathering, and you can find everything that you needed. Some of them jokers who ate squirrel, they just went squirrel hunting in the suburbs. But you don't see that today. You don't see that at all today. They're not growing but we can grow. That's the thing. It's about what we can do. It's what you can do. And say I ain't worried about the government trying to step in. The government don't have as much power as we think they have. They only have as much power as we give them. There's a black family that I buy fruit from time to time. Especially when they was on my route to work. I forgot how many acres of land he told me that he had out in Eastman, Georgia. But during the summer, him and his wife, and I think they got about 5 kids. Most of their family grows peanuts, but him and his wife grows fruits and vegetables, primarily watermelon. And I got to know him pretty decently. They sit up there on 124, Highway 124. And these jokers make $90,000 over a growing season selling mostly watermelon. 90 grand. 90 grand. And the majority of that is profit. Yeah. But see, you can use their laws against them to be able to ship your stuff out of this country. That's all you have to do is use their laws against them. Make sure your paperwork's right. Make sure you got all your right certifications and things of that nature. When they try to not certify you or disrupt your process, take them to court. Take them to court. You do know we have to realize you can take the U.S. government to court, and the U.S. government has lost in court. You can take their asses to court, and yeah, you might lose some battles, but you might win some. But you're gonna win some. The winning gonna start. What am I gonna do in Puerto Rico? What I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now. That's my main thing that I'm going to be doing when I'm in Puerto Rico. Is what I'm doing right now. Of course, I'll look for other opportunities, and I'll probably be selling shit like this hat that I'm wearing. I'll probably be selling stuff. I'm not sure I want to continue to own brick and mortars type situations, but the same shit I'm doing right now. And then when that catalyst happens, I was gonna be ready. And that's the other thing. If enough of us do it, they cannot keep things the same way. That is why a movement works. That is why a movement works. A movement changes the culture. And it works. They can't stop it. They can't. They knew they couldn't stop the civil rights because it was getting to the tip boiling point. Malcolm X was right. The Caucasians had a powder keg sitting inside their house, ready to explode. So they gave you a little bit. We're gonna integrate. We're gonna let y'all come and shop in our store. We're gonna let y'all give us y'all money. It ain't the Freedmen Bank like we had after post-slavery, but it's pretty much the Freedmen Bank. Oh, we're gonna take your money and we're gonna give it to the Caucasians. And that's exactly what we did. We ran off and shot with them and lived next to them and went to their schools, all that. We had our own bus systems, but people felt like, oh, I want to ride the white bus. I was listening to a gentleman the other day, and he was talking about how he watched a man come up to a black store, saw the ice machine out there, had the name of the ice company, picked up the ice, rolled it around, then went over across the street to the white liquor store, picked up the ice, looked at it, bought the ice from over there, from the white store, Caucasian store. And then he asked him, why did you buy it from over there? He said, oh, well, you know, Mr. Johnson's ice is lumpy. Mr. Richardson's ice over here is smoother. Ice come from the same goddamn company. There ain't no damn difference. That's the mindset. Right. We bring ourselves value by living in neighborhood communities that don't want us, and it brings you no value at all. I remember the first time I heard somebody who was bragging about being the only one in their neighborhood, in that neighborhood. And I told him, I said, you sound like the only fool I've ever met. While the Bible has some crazy passages, do you think the Bible is esoteric? That describes in the priests who first create the Bible use ancient proverbs from different cultures like Egypt and Sumer? They most certainly did. The entire biblical story is copy paste, make some changes that fit our people group, and then say that it is the will of God. There is some esoteric understandings within it, but for the most part, it's a book that's based on a people group and a culture of that time frame. So, yeah, it is very much so. And it's made up bullshit. It's a bunch of made up stuff. My mother raised my siblings and I in that situation, and there's a certain level of trauma growing up as the only black child. Of course, yeah, there is trauma. Look, black children growing up in all white communities, in those early years, everything seems similar. Everything seems fine because the child is unaware. But as they start to get older, they start seeing the difference. They see the difference in how the Caucasian families, parents, they gather together and have tea and, you know, barbecues, because we have cookouts, they have barbecues. They have barbecues together and they're standing on the corner having conversations, talking about things. They all go to the same little churches and do all these things together. But now they start to see the isolation away from those people. They start seeing the differences, and those differences start to bring up traumas. And oftentimes the black child tries to assimilate to the Caucasian behaviors, the liking of their music, their dress, their speech patterns, all these sorts of things, and they just lose themselves. And when they get around some black people, they don't fit in. So then they got trauma from not being able to fit in with, you know, people that look like them. And then they get a little bit older and start noticing the differences of how the teachers treat them and how the police officers treat them, how the shopkeepers treat them, and all these differences started happening. And that child doesn't understand why, because you grew up thinking you was all the same. And you start seeing that you're different. And then you have nobody that you can attach to. So you find yourself in isolation. Find yourself in isolation. Discourse of the alien sky symbols of an alien. Okay, thunderbolts. I looked that channel up. But that's why, even though my children originally, when I came back to Georgia, well, every place that, once I had children and I was in the military, they were in the neighborhood. If the neighborhood was like hardly no black people in it, I was like, no. I literally told my real estate agent, I need a community where there is a large number of black people. Otherwise, I'm not moving in that community. And when I moved back to Cobb, now part of the reason why I moved to East Cobb, I didn't want to be in Central Cobb around my family. Because them jokers just be showing up at the house unannounced. But even still, I made sure that the black population in that school was at least 30%. My children were not going to be isolated. That was one of my biggest things. They are not going to be isolated. But I also wanted, we're gonna have representation out here in this community. Y'all ain't gonna ostracize us. And when I was in those communities, I made sure that we integrated with the other black people, the other black families. Hell, we integrated with the other Indian families. You know, I made sure that there was, you know, a group of us that wasn't gonna take their bullshit if they try to run some game. But I still would make sure that my kids spent a lot of time in the more dense black populated areas of Marietta, which is the city, Marietta City. Right, how they all kick it and you all nice, but once you leave, you know they be talking shit about you. You know it. And when you go through slave history and they just look at you, yeah. Yeah, my kids used to get in trouble. Well, they used to try to get my kids in trouble because they come home and they say, oh, we got to do a report on this or a report on that. And especially when it came down to history, and I was like, no, this part right here wrong. They need to understand this. And then this part happened and that and that and that and that. And then they go to school and the teachers is like, you know, well, that's not what we're studying. I say, well, if you're going to study the subject, then you're going to study all the subject. You ain't going to teach my children the Caucasian side of this. The part that you want to make look nice. Hell no. You gonna get it, you getting it all. You're gonna talk about it, you talking about all of it. Oh, you talking about the slavery? Oh, we gonna talk about how they was all Christian. They based this on this Bible. Yeah, well, you gonna talk about that. When my child get up and do their report gonna have all that in it. And you're gonna let them speak. And they labeled it negatively as critical race theory when we acknowledge the truth in history. Right. I am a big supporter of critical race theory. You need to know what your ancestors did. Didn't the Greeks create the first Bible? Now the Septuagint. They say Ptolemy II, Philadelphia's got 72 scholars to translate the Hebrew Old Testament. And that didn't make sense because Hellenization was occurring. Yeah, they did. They got 72 scholars to come together, write the Septuagint, which is, it's not the Bible, it's the Torah. It's the Old Testament. And then that Septuagint was used to write some of the New Testament, as well as then the Vulgate comes later. But it was used to write in a Jesus character that would fit the Old Testament prophecies, so that Christians can run around the day saying, oh, Jesus, he fulfilled all the prophecies. Bullshit. No, he didn't. They wrote it in that way. People have rewritten history over and over again. And then today, all these black people just running around, oh, Jesus was black. No, he was probably mixed. If he had actually existed, he probably would have been some form of mixed race from generations and generations and generations. Generations of Greeks, generations of Romans, but definitely generations of Greeks, generations of Minoans, and a whole bunch of other people. You've been mixed race. And I don't go for that, oh, one drop of black blood. That's some bullshit. Fuck that. Nah. But what does it matter? It still don't even matter. I care less what the people of the Levant look like. Don't mean one damn thing as far as the situation that we find ourselves in. Don't mean shit. It's all about how black man carries himself. I make sure I get the respect I deserve, and I don't take much. And I don't take much to demand it from them folks. You goddamn right, it don't take much to demand it, but we think that it does. Right? We think that it takes much. It don't. I will stand up to these jokers in a heartbeat. We actually had not an incident, but an issue where I had to correct one of my Caucasians who come in here and let him know how he practiced benign racism, right? And every time he tried to justify it, I made sure he understood that bullshit ain't gonna travel in here. And you're a decent guy, don't get me wrong, a decent guy. As far as being a person, I like that. I like him. He's a decent guy. But as far as that bullshit, no, bro, you about to get corrected in here. And he still bring his happy ass in here. Matter of fact, he was here last night. And tonight's Friday. We got movie night tonight. He'll bring his ass here tonight. He still comes. And he's funny as hell, because if he see other Caucasians in here, he quick to say, they need to get the hell out of here. I don't want to hear their bullshit. But he old school. He grew up thinking that he grew up in a time frame, and he got some of those things in his mind, and he don't think he's doing any harm, and that's the problem. So benign racism, in his mind, because there are so many black police officers in this area, he doesn't think police brutality happens the same way. Because he's been pulled over and has some asshole cops, he thinks that that's a normal thing. He doesn't see the difference. He's into he's a landscaper, and the conversation actually started because there's a tree called a Japanese maple, and he sells a lot of those Japanese maples, but he still calls them Jap maples. And I was like, dude, do you realize that's a racist term? So it's that he thinks that everything is fair and equal now. He thinks that everybody has an opportunity because he lives out here in this community where you will see in this community, white people will shop with black people. They'll shop with Asian people. You got black people who shop with, people let me just put it like that. People in this area shop with everybody. They shop with everybody. You just got to have a good product and a product that they want or a service that they want. They will shop with everybody in this area. 30 years ago, not so much in this area. This was a sundown town, but everybody shops here, and it's about 40% black out here, and everybody shops with everybody. So he thinks that this microcosm is his macrocosm. It's funny how we fight with Hispanics when it comes to being with Caucasians. We team up against them. That's how we did it in Montana, Spokane. Are you still in Spokane? I'm asking for a reason for that one. But I mean, and that's the thing. I will come on, Hispanics. Y'all need to get on team oppressed and overcome this oppression. I'm with the Hispanics. And you got a division within them. Now, when you talk about the Latins and the Hispanics, because they will separate themselves, them light-skinned Latins, a lot of them, they want to side with the Caucasians. And they can carry their ass on. You still gonna have a percentage of them that ain't gonna ever get with the program. Yeah, I only trust the cops that I know. If I don't know you as a cop, I don't care what your skin tone is. Your ass could be just as corrupt as the other one. Oh, your apprenticeship is in. So are you in Spokane right now? Hispanics claim Spaniard when they separated themselves from us. Okay. Right. So they're Spaniards. Them they better get with the program, because it ain't gonna work for them. Oh, you're in Montana right now. Sometime in the near no, it ain't gonna be the near future, because I am not going to Spokane in the wintertime. But my son is stationed up at whatever that Air Force base is outside of Spokane. So I gotta go see my man down. Yeah, are descendants of the ancient Greeks and Romans, which include the Roman emperors back then, using religion and are still using today. Oh, yeah. 381, Theodosius demonstrated that Christianity is one of the most powerful weapons that you can use to oppress people. That religion in itself is one of the most powerful weapons that you can use to oppress people. And they're still doing it today. America is supposed to be a democratic republic, but to a certain degree, America is a theocracy. It is still a theocracy. There is no separation of church and state. After you get past the surface, there is all kind of connection between church and state. The government is still telling the church what they can and cannot do, can and cannot say. Still telling them. Threaten it. Here's an example of how the government still controls religion in this country. Utah wanted to become a state. The American government at that time frame said, you guys in your religion practice polygamy. Stop practicing polygamy. Say that is not part of your religion anymore. You can become a state. I think it was Brigham Young who was in charge of the Mormon church at the time. He had a revelation from God to outlaw polygamy, and polygamy was gone. And Utah became a state. Who made that decision? The authority wasn't the deity. The authority was the American government. Then later on, Jimmy Carter told Utah that you will lose the Mormon church, which is Utah. You will lose your 501c3 if you continue to teach that black people cannot go to heaven unless they are servants of the Caucasian Mormons, and that black people can't join the priesthood because they are cursed. And it's the curse of Ham, but it's also the curse of those who did not take up a fight against, who stayed pacifistic in the fight between Lucifer and his brother Jesus, according to the Mormon teaching. And they were still teaching that. But in the 70s, Jimmy Carter changed that. So is it the authority of the government or the authority of their deity? It's the government. And if you don't think that that is happening with your major coalitions of Protestantisms, whichever one it is, and Catholicism, you are definitely wrong. You are, yeah, you're completely naive to the fact. Your pastor gonna say what it keeps him in line or her in line with whatever the government says is okay. Dark-skinned Latinos know where we come from. I have part Mexican in me, which is nothing but Olmecs, the dark-skinned ones anyway. Yeah, the original Mexicans, what became Mexicans, were black. But colonization got them thinking that light is right. Got them thinking light is right. But trust and believe. I know materialism, Paul said materialism is not a good thing. But materialism is just it's like a hammer. You can either bash someone's head in with it or you can build a house. You start showing the Hispanics that when we all come down to the Southeast and we start building infrastructure and we start building businesses and you can make some money. Money is the biggest deity in the world. You can make some money, you can get a house, take care of your family, put some clothes on their back, some food in their mouth, some transportation. You show people that they can live just as good or better. Them Latinos and Hispanics would be like, "Hey, I'm here in Wakanda. When we separate from the entire country and rename it Wakanda." Actually, if the catalyst happened right now and we were building something, I would literally utilize that name Wakanda because it has become this beautiful place in the minds of Black people today. No benefits. You got to explain more than just no benefits, free minds. Oh, you're saying to how Christianity benefited people of color? It hasn't, right? You're exactly right. It has not benefited Black people or people of color anywhere in the world at any time frame. But you use Wakanda as a vision. I would use Wakanda as a vision. I'd even name the organization or name the country Wakanda. And just that, this is, like I said, everything is emotional. When you tap into the emotions of a people, the people they'll move their feet. So if the catalyst happens, I will use the vision of Wakanda, creating a safe haven for your children to come up and become the engineers that will develop the technology, whether it is computer technology or medical technology or robotic technology, farming technology, that we can become. Do you know how many geniuses were lost in history? How many Black geniuses were lost in history because of the oppressive nature of Christian America? Now you bring all that together in a safe environment that feeds the mind of those inventors, and you can create Wakanda. It's an idea that we can look to like American Eagle, a symbol of hope and all those great things. We need greater universal ideas in our culture outside of religion. Exactly. And that's the thing. That's why religion is a hindrance. That's why Christianity has hindered us more than anything else. It was Christianity that enslaved our people physically, and it is Christianity that has enslaved us mentally, and that mental enslavement has enslaved us economically. Snatch that shit, get that out the picture. But you're never going to be able to get it all out the picture. Well, I ain't going to say never. Until we move into the new age of Aquarius and get deep into the age of Aquarius, you're still going to have Christianity. And although it will become less and less and less and less over the next 200, 300, 400, 500 years, it won't be the thing that is holding us back anymore. I think more and more Black people are going to go to more of an Atlantean mindset or a Kemetic mindset or an African ancestry mindset. And at least in those religions, it's not a religion that is oppressive to people who look like you. You might oppress other people, but you're not oppressing those that look like you, because the oppression that you saw between like the Igbo and the Yoruba was not an oppression of religion, but more of an oppression of tribal oppression. So it's there will always be some levels of oppression. You will never have a utopia. You're not going to have a utopia. There's no such thing as having a utopia. Hell, you can't even have a husband and wife get together and they live in a utopia. They still gonna have some issues. They gonna have some issues. So there's always gonna be some issues. There's always gonna be poor people. There's always gonna be crime. But the building of a strong middle class is how a nation succeeds. That's how a nation succeeds. This is why move our happy asses to the Southeast, build a strong middle class, and we can succeed in taking the Southeast economically, educationally, then politically, and then we can succeed from the oppressive nation. Within the next 500 years, America will break up, right? It's going to break up. Every government, every nation has its rise and its fall. It will break up. Hell, I think a beautiful catalyst would be that if the Republicans and Democrats start having an all-out war. I would love for that catalyst to happen, because that's when my call for us to move to the Southeast, form our own contingent, and whichever side is saying, and we just tell both sides, y'all can fight all you want. We just want the Southeast. We taking the Southeast. And you know what's funny? You know what group would probably say, we'll let you have the Southeast if you continue to trade with us and do this and, provide us, food and resources. The Republicans will be the one that will say, y'all can have it. We're going to take the rest of America. And just as long as we can trade with y'all. We don't like y'all and we don't want to be with y'all anyway. The Democrats are the ones that'll be like, no, fight with us. We're going to give you representation, but they ain't going to give you no land. They're not going to give you the land. I think Blacks and Latinos have a bigger worship gene compared to Caucasians. Not gene, but mentality. Okay, so when I study ancient religions, one of the aspects that in culture, I studied the culture and everything around it. One of the things I realized some time ago was that the more oppressed you are, the more religious you are. So the only reason you see more religious loyalty from Blacks and Latinos is because we were the more oppressed people. You see, when you're not oppressed and everything looks like you're living in milk and honey, you don't have the emotional attachment to deity, because you're going out and your kids are getting educated, your kids are running corporations, your kids are higher ups in corporations, your money is flowing. You don't need things will be better later. I need to pray, and you don't even pray as much. You don't need to pray as much. It is oppressed people. You go find you a poor Caucasian area, like a good trailer park, and they are just as religified as anywhere else. Right, the poorest area are the most religious. Yeah, oppressed people will always be the most religious. Look at some of your wealthy Black people. They're not as religious. Oprah Winfrey is not religious. A lot of these wealthy Black, they're not religious. There will always be poor people if we continue to accept capitalism and feudalism. You can have communism, socialism, you still gonna have poor people. All the isms gonna have poor people. Washington, D.C. has all types of Roman architecture. I believe it was once called Rome of the Potomac. We even have a friends. I don't know what a princess is. Signed in the House of Representation. Let's see what that is. I like learning new stuff. Make sure that's FRASCES. 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 Damn. My Google went and started speaking French. So I'm not sure I'm getting the right thing to explain to me what this is. Everything is in French and my French is horrible. I don't know what that is. You got to tell me what that is. Seems to me the more knowledge people have, the less they are turned to religion. Yeah, of course it is. You can't be an intellectual person and still be religious. You if you are, you're just in denial. Oh no, it doesn't matter what neighborhood you go to. Them little Mormon kids be out everywhere. They be out everywhere, but they do find it easier. It's easier for them to communicate with people in oppressive areas, in less economic areas. And here's the thing: them Mormon kids ain't out really trying to convert nobody. They just doing what they have to do so for their 1 year and then go back. They really ain't trying to bring you in, especially if you are over the age of 30. They ain't trying to bring you in. Oh, it's a symbol or sign of fascism. Okay, I have to research that. In communist socialism, all of your basic needs are met. The problem is combating corruption, totalitarianism, authoritarianism. No country has ever had true communism. Oh, hell no. And they won't. You can't. Marx and Engels said themselves that the only way communism could ever work is you would have to eliminate greed. And they said that that would be impossible, and therefore communism will never work. So it's never going to work. Communism is not ever, because you won't be able to eliminate the greed. People are always going to be greedy. Hold on, let me unlock this door. I think somebody might be coming over here. Yeah, you're never going to get rid of greed. So that's why it'll never work. I'm not wholly against capitalism. I am against feudalism, but not wholly against capitalism. If you had a fair market, that's the problem. Because of oppression and racism and religion, you do not have a fair market. You don't have a fair opportunity. I don't know if we're going to do it on this page. It'll probably be on my In and Out to Legacy Business page, where I would talk more about the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. But historically, the same problem that America is having right now was had in Babylon during the reign of Emperor Sargon. Sargon was going out conquering, and it would come back and be like, I brought all this wealth to Babylon, but why is it that only 1% of the population is wealthy, the rest of the population is poor? And when they brought in Arcad, according to these tablets, when they brought Arcad in, Arcad explained to the emperor that, well, it's because most of the people don't know how to make money. So he instituted a program, and this is why you have these towers of learning in the ancient Babylon. And Arcad taught 1,000 people how to become wealthy. And then those 1,000 people had to go out and teach another 1,000 how to become wealthy. And over a generation, Babylon became one of the most wealthiest city-states in history, and they had one of the strongest middle class in history. And that was one of the reasons why the Babylonian Empire was able to spread. Other cities like Nippur and Nineveh, they became very wealthy areas because these people, these thousands of people went out because they know they couldn't all do it in Babylon. So they started going out and venturing out into other cities within the Babylonian Empire and became wealthy or high middle class. So basically, I would set up a governmental system and an educational system that teaches people how to be financially sound and how to invest, because not everybody needs to run a business, because not everybody can. Thank you for the stars, Wade. But as they go out and they'll we'll develop a stronger middle class. And that's the strength, that the economic strength of a nation is through a strong middle class. A capitalist, no. Do you think a capitalist republic like America will eventually work? No, it won't. The main reason why it won't work is because of religion and racism. Religion and racism is the reason why a capitalist America will never work. It won't. What is it? I think Norway or Denmark, Norway and Denmark are more of a capitalist socialist society. And that's one of the reasons why they are some of the, when you look at wealth broad across a nation, they are some of the wealthiest people. They have one of the strongest middle and upper middle classes in the world. But they teach their people how to manage money in their early years before they become working adults. We don't do that. America does not do that. America is not doing that. Hell, I took economics my 9th grade year at Marietta High. 2 years later, they took economics out of the program. So you didn't even get to learn about macro and microeconomics and stock markets and things like that. But they taught it only in the 9th grade. And in the 9th grade, you ain't thinking about no shit like that. That was a class that was an economic class that needed to have more depth, make it more personalized, and should have been mandatory instructions during your 11th and 12th grade year to actually prepare you to go out into the working world. You know, I went into the military and I had no idea how to budget a checkbook. Didn't know how to get a house, didn't know how credit worked, didn't know any of those things. The first fortunate thing is that that in the Marine Corps, in order to get promoted to the next rank, well, before you can get promoted to E3, you had to take a correspondence course that was on personal finances. And that was my first introduction to personal finances. And then soon after that, I read The Richest Man in Babylon. And then I read that's moved me to a whole another level. And then in the late 90s, I read Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and then that took it to another level, and so on and so forth. Yeah, See, if America truly wanted to succeed in building a strong middle class and upper middle class, then it would focus on economic development when you're in high school. Like, I would make you take economic development throughout high school. That would be part of the curriculum. You need to learn that. And I put trades back in the schools too. Before capitalism or feudalism, more people lived off the land within tribes and were farmers or part of a hunter-gatherer society. This is true. And people were more equal. But that time frame is long gone. That time frame is long gone. We're not going to revert back to an agrarian. The only way we revert to an agrarian society is if something like Yosemite and the caldera that sits in the bay in Bay of Naples. I don't know what the bay is called, but if those two exploded, it would completely jack up the northern hemisphere, and all this industrialization and shit will be gone. Unfortunately, half people on the West Coast most of the people on the West Coast gonna die. A whole bunch of people on the East Coast gonna die. There'll be a few people left. Probably cut it down to about 100 million people in America, probably less than that actually. Probably cut America down to somewhere in the neighborhood of about 20 to 50 million. But that's it'll take something like that. You know, it'll totally devastate most if not all of Europe, North Africa, the Middle East, some parts of northern India, some parts of China. You know, it'll tell some shit. And then there'll be a reset and we will become agrarian again. But eventually we'll grow out of being agrarian and become more technology based and information based and industrialization. And we'll be back in the same situation. To have a list of suggested books for strengthening your knowledge on economics, and as someone who became aware late of the game. Richest Man in Babylon, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. On my website, I have a book program that is designed. It's called Financially on Fire, and there's a book for the alchemical mindset of finances. But I think the book is called Finance. The pamphlet that I had written was called shit. It should be Financially on Fire, but I know there's also a webinar that I set up called Financially on Fire as well, which goes into deeper aspects of it. But I did put together a book on how to create a budget, invest, and fix your credit. And everything in it is still valid today. Very few things have changed. Oop, I didn't mean to hit that. Actually, I've been working on this on my website for my coaching programs. Because what else am I going to be doing in Puerto Rico? That. My internet is slow today. It's been slow all week. Let me get to it here. I'm trying to open up the right. I clicked on the wrong page. It's taking all day to go to the right page. I didn't mean to go to this page. But yeah, if you go to coachrenz.com and click on the store, there is it's a DIY Financially on Fire. I knew there was something before the Financially on Fire, but if you go there, there's a DIY Financially on Fire. That do it yourself. It has 609 letters, tell you how to write them, what information you put in them. It tells you how to set up your budget, set up your finances, set up your budget, how to get there. Teaches you about finances and get your mind right for it. Because if you're not mentally there, I can give you all the instructions in the world. But if you don't mentally get your mind right, it's not going to work for you. Like I said, I don't bullshit people. I can sit up here right now and I can send you a blank slate of my budget format. And you can have it. And you can go in there and you can put all your numbers in. But if your mind is not right, you're not going to follow it. And then if you don't follow it, you're going to claim that it doesn't work. But you got to do it to make it work. If you're not doing it, of course it's not going to work. It's like when you go to the gym and you see the person who's just in the gym, they're on the treadmill and they just walking all slow and shit. Then they go and they lift a little weight here. They go lift a little weight there. It's like, why are you here? You shouldn't even be in here right now. You're wasting time. But yeah, DIY Financially on Fire. That is a book that is a culmination of me reading a bunch of other financial books as I was coming up. And I read a bunch of financial books. I mean, I did the what's the Robert Kiyosaki. I read like all of his books, like every book that Robert Kiyosaki wrote. I read them. Even before Trump ran for president, all his books that he had ghost written, I read all of his books. You know, if you wrote a financial, I do now. One I hated was shit. What's the Christian financial guy name? I forgot the Christian financial guy name. I hated his book. His book was all about saving and paying everything in cash. We don't live in a cash society anymore. That shit is not gonna work. You ain't about to save all your life to buy a house. You ain't about to save all your life to buy a car. It is not gonna work. You're not gonna do it. You know, if you make $50,000 a year, and you're how much of, so let's say you make 50. Now, one of the things I do say in mine is, if you are saving 10% of your annual income and you make $50,000 a year, then in 10 years you'll have $50,000 in your savings or in your investments, right? It takes 10 years just for you to save 50,000 if you're saving 10%. By the time you say that 50,000, like if there was a $50,000 car you wanted, 10 years later, that car is not $50,000, which a car is a bad investment anyway, but that car is not $50,000. That car now has, with inflation and all these other kind of things, that car is now $80,000, $90,000. So that guy's book to save and pay everything with cash, nah, that dog don't have no more. So understand, yeah, Dave Ramsey, thank you. Yep, Dave Ramsey. I don't like Dave Ramsey. His books were full of shit. His books were, you had to make about $250,000 a year and be willing to live a $60,000, $70,000 lifestyle to do the Dave Ramsey stuff. Anyway. And like we talk about in here, I mean, we're late to the game if we were starting this now, but like I have my kids, I've instructed my kids, they all ain't doing it, but to invest right now as much money as they can, but at $200 to $400 a month into U.S. Treasury bonds or into S&P, into an S&P fund. If they were to do this over the next 20, 30 years, you know, until they're like 50 and 60, then they will have, like, depending on how much, anywhere from $600,000 to $6 million in those investments. But that's what, but that's something that you have to do young, which is something that should be taught to kids as they're coming up, so that that's becomes their mode of operation. And then they don't go get a house and a car and all these other, you know, entrapments that takes up 100% of their budget. But they got 10% of their money going into investments their entire life. By the time, if they never start a business, they don't have to start a business. They don't have to get involved with a 401k or any of those bullshits. They will have the finances when they are older. But they also have a habit. They've developed a habit of saving and a habit of denial. You know, you have to deny yourself something in order to change your life. You have to be willing to sacrifice something in order to change your life. And if you're not willing to sacrifice, your life will not change. It's not. That's why. Oh, TikTok, y'all got. Let me know when the microphone go out. I ain't always looking. That's why. That's why getting. In order for Black people to change their stars and how things are for them, we have to be willing to sacrifice some stuff. Sacrifice your religious affiliations to the point where I can't do nothing with Coach Renz because he doesn't believe what I believe. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? I don't need to believe in the same deity you believe in order for us to function together economically, educationally, in a society, as far as how our children are taught, how we force the police that are in our area, to govern us. I don't need you to agree with me. I don't need to agree with you for us to both agree that every police officer needs to be retrained. Every police officer needs to have an associate's degree at minimum in law, in pre-law, like a special pre-law training, that they actually understand and know the freaking law, right? That they learn how to serve and protect, not gun you down. We don't have to agree religiously for that. So when I say set aside their religion, that's what I mean by set it. I ain't saying they gotta give it up, because they just, like, most of them are not. But just set that shit aside. I'm gonna have to get a microphone that I can use into that phone, into the one that's on Facebook. I'll order one. But we don't need that. Don't have to have that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna order it today. I'm gonna order the same type that I use on the TikTok. We don't have to have that. Not even slightly. But we just need to agree that we want a better life for ourselves and our children, a better life for our grandchildren, great grandchildren, that the legacy we leave behind is something that we know that when all this nation go to hell in a handbasket, they're not held back by some damn religion, and they're not held back by racism. That's all. That's all we need. Matter of fact, let me try something. Let me try something on that one. Ooh, knock that down. But that's all we need. Before I order this thing, let's see how well it works with that one. Let me move this out the way before I knock it down. Because knowing me, I'm liable to knock it down before I set it up right, since I'm trying to reach over it. But that's all we need. We just need to agree on that. Hold on for a minute, Facebook. You're going to lose volume for a second. And then that'll let me know to go ahead and order one. How do I get this damn thing? Ah! You know what? The struggle is real. Eek. Y'all got me struggling over here, Facebook. Got me struggling, got me dropping stuff. I'll be right back. We're going to test this out on Facebook. Make sure it works before I go and order something. All right, Facebook. Can you hear me better now? Whew. Just tearing shit up. I'm going to need y'all to let me know if you can hear me better. There, Facebook. YouTube should be, TikTok should be fine hearing me on with that phone. It's a better phone on that I'm using for TikTok than the one I'm using for Facebook. How's the volume there, Facebook? But yeah, we would have to set those things aside. They have to set those things aside. Because religion don't matter if the people are still being destroyed. It doesn't matter. And now a religious person is going to say, oh, well, I'm just here for heaven. I'm just waiting on heaven. Not realizing that, and when we do the Gospel of Thomas in our book club after we finish the Kabbalion next week, and we start on the Gospel of Thomas, one of the sayings that I do like from it is that it consistently says that heaven is right now. Heaven is at hand. Heaven is inside of you and outside of you. Like heaven is here. It's in your mind. And I would go further, say it's in your mind and in your heart. It's a mental thing and it's an emotional thing, because that's going to determine how you live as a physical thing. And heaven is when a police officer pulls up behind you and you get no anxiety. When you know that they're there to serve you. Heaven is when your neighborhoods are safe. Heaven is when your jobs are safe. Heaven is when you know you are earning, a decent wage to be able to take care of your family, that you're getting paid your weight. I don't think everybody should get paid the same amount of money. You get paid based on your value. If you bring high value, you should get high money. If you bring low value, you get low money. Just the way it is. It's always been that way. If you're a great hunter, you get the fat of the meat. You get the biggest portions of the meat. If you suck, you get the scraps. That's just how that works. Just how it works. How's the volume, Facebook? I need one of y'all to say something about the volume. If the volume is good. Facebook. But that's what we need to understand. That we're all in the same damn position, regardless of what religion you believe in. But instead, people want to come and fight about a religion. They want to fight about Christianity. No, that's not the way of America, but that's the way. That's Wakanda. That's what I propose that we build. I could give two shits about America. Yeah, going to the Marine Corps didn't make me more American, more patriotic. If anything, it decreased my affinity for America. It decreased it greatly. I have affinity for my fellow Marines, the ones who serve with me, the ones who had to deal with a whole bunch of bullshit of racism, the ones who had to deal with going into combat for rich people's sake. I have an affinity for them, but I have none for America itself. I have affinity for the people, and especially those who look like me and have to suffer through the same bullshit. And the only reason is because of your skin tone. And then for all of y'all, you suffer through additional bullshit because you don't agree with this book. Because you've chosen to walk away from this book, from this man-made created deity. You get persecuted for having a mind, for thinking for yourself. And these people call themselves Christian. It is one thing for a person to come on and disagree with me, to say that, well, I don't agree with your teachings. I think that you're wrong about the Bible. You're wrong about the Torah. You're wrong about the Hebrew Israelites. You're wrong about the Mormons. You're wrong about all these. If you have an intellectual conversation, fine. But for those who want to come and try to slander me and talk, do the name calling because they can't refute the information, that is mighty Christian of you. Which is why I tell them, show up. Say it to my face. Say it to my face. I'm right here. I'm 51 years old with knee pain, ankle pain, back pains, and I still take your ass on. I even tell you my weak areas, and I still take you on. And your best bet is to do it now. Your best bet is to do it now, because I've been getting a little bit healthier. 2 weeks ago, I was 260. Now I'm 253, 254, 253. What was it this morning? 253.9. So 254. For those who talk that trash, right now is your best time. You better get me while I still got a little bit of this, and my flexibility ain't all the way there. But don't think them skills done changed. Crafty old man go up in this joint. But nah, And that's the funny thing to me. You're supposed to be Christian, but you can't control your emotions. You cannot control your emotions. And then how has Christianity benefited people of color or anybody for that concern when the overwhelming majority of people in prison who commit crimes are Christians? All these jokers in jail claim Christianity. I ain't gonna say all of them. Most of them claim Christianity. A lot of them go in claiming Christianity and walk out claiming Islam. Or now you have a lot of them getting out claiming Hebrew Israelite. But you go in one religion, come out another religion. It's not the religion that changed you, it's you that changed you. But most people in prisons claim a religion. How has religion benefited you if your religion is not preventing you from committing crimes? Economics prevent people from committing crimes. Every area, no matter what skin tone a person is, every area where the income is low, that is where the majority of crimes happen. Economics create crimes, not race, not gender, not religion. But your religion should be that thing that no matter what your economics are, you should not be committing crimes. If you truly believe in Christianity, you should not commit a crime. Truly believe in Islam, you should not commit a crime. You shouldn't. The Christian Bible tells you that the laws that you were born under were the laws that God gave you, and that you are to obey those laws. Sounds like some good Roman shit written, some what people in charge would write. I mean, if I was the head of a government and I wanted to control the people, I would most assuredly say that whomever is your leader, God appointed. Whatever laws that are created, God anointed. Yeah, that's some good control shit right there. I would most certainly, if I was that type of person, write that in there. But they're not following it. They're not following it. If they were, we wouldn't have a privatized prison industrial complex. We wouldn't have it at all. We would have very few jails, very few long-term prisoners, if that was the case. But we don't. So what benefit has religion brought? Specifically Christianity. What benefit? The only people that Christianity benefits are the slave masters, the power brokers. Those are the only ones that it benefits. It doesn't benefit anybody else. Not one other person. But it's starting to get a little long in the tooth here. And I got some other work to do. And we are long past 1 o'clock. We at the 2 o'clock mark almost. But I did start an hour late, so it's fine. It's fine. But we're going to go ahead and close shop. Of course, I'll be shooting videos all weekend. I'll probably shoot a couple of videos today, depending upon how my day goes. Well, it doesn't matter. If I have to go outside and shoot them, if people are here, I'll just go outside and shoot. But I appreciate you guys. For those who supported the channel financially, I appreciate it. Those who shared the channel, I greatly appreciate you as well. Continue to share the video, share the channel. Let's make, instead of being one of those channels where I'm trying to get people to subscribe, get subscriptions. There's a difference between subscribing and getting a subscription. Like you can get a subscription, you can pay for a monthly subscription on Facebook and YouTube, or Super Thanks, or Stars, or what is the other thing? They got Patreon and all that stuff. I don't mind those things, but my preference is that you like and share the videos so that the viewership is what forces Meta and YouTube to pay me so that I have more time to do this, right? More time to build this, and then eventually build our own system, because fuck their system. They're still controlling it, and I don't even like that. But until such a time, this is where we at. So please share, like, subscribe, and subscribe. I appreciate it. I do appreciate you guys tremendously. I appreciate your input, for communicating with me, for talking to me. I even though I do like the sound of my voice, I don't like it that much that I just want to sit here and pontificate all day. So I appreciate you guys for all your comments, and uh, whether we agreed or disagreed, they were very well welcomed, and I appreciate them. Everybody was polite, even in our disagreements. Everybody's polite. Everybody is respectful, and as long as you're polite and respectful to me, I'll be respectful to you. When you're not, you're gonna catch everything else that comes. You're gonna get the same what you put out for me, you're gonna get it back multiplied. So thank you guys. And let's get the movement. Let's get the movement started. All right. Well, it's already started. Let me not say get it started. It's already started. Let's keep driving and pushing the movement. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it, damn it. But let's get it going. Let's get it going. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in the Emperor's Handbook, it's up to you. Well, he wrote it's up to me, but it's up to me, meaning that everything is up to you. Everything you want something, you desire something, it's up to you. It's not the government, it's not your neighbor, it's not the schools, it's not the police, it's not anybody. It starts with you. If you're not willing to do it, don't freaking expect somebody else to do it. And I had to learn that myself. I didn't want to be this guy. So let's keep rolling. So share it. Y'all have a great day. I'm sure I won't do a live over the weekend. So y'all have a great day, a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Play safe. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your friends. Enjoy whatever slice of life you have. And I will see you guys next week. Definitely Tuesday. We are in Leviticus 3. We did 1, 2, and 3. So 4 and 5 at minimum next week of what's wrong with the Bible as we break these books down. That's Leviticus. The Wednesday, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Thursday, we have the Kabbalion, the very last chapter, which is just axioms and a summary of the hermetic principles. I don't promise Mondays and Fridays because those 2 days I never know how my morning is going to go, and those are normally the days where if I have any kind of appointments, I set those appointments on those days. So we will see as far as Monday and Friday of next week. But y'all have a great day, and remember always you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is not negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations. Peace. Let's turn all this stuff off. Ooh, this gnat is getting on my nerve. It's the only thing I hate about the summer. Damn insects.